Welcome to the Modern Homes Podcast. We're Rob Clements.
Frank Dominic.
We are back, man. We had a little hiatus there while Frank traveled to China.
Thailand, China, California.
A number
5
of places. I kind of shortchanged it there where I said China. You were in Thailand. You were in California. What was the funnest part of your trip, if I may ask?
All of it.
All of it.
Well, I can't shortchange one person over the other.
Really? Yeah. You saw a lot of cool people, a lot of old friends.
I met some friends, saw some old friends, met new friends.
Yeah.
Saw my daughter. Saw my father-in-law, all those things. You can't say one's better than the other.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. That's very cool. And I got to tell you, I saw some pictures that you shared along the way, and they look like something you would see in an old like a magazine or something. They were beautiful pictures, man. You got a skill for this picture taking thing too.
I had a restaurant, so I took a lot of pictures of food, and I had to make the food exciting.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice. Well,
key is natural light, folks.
Yeah, well, you got to get the natural light. Make sure you got that right. If you don't have that right, nothing's going to go right. All right. Well, hey, listen, everybody. Well, welcome back to the show. We're glad to have you guys, and we're going to dive into some stuff today. But primarily, it's still near the beginning of the year. Yeah. A lot of people have questions. What's going on out there? And so I wanted to kind of hit up some of the things that I'm seeing and that you're seeing that are kind of trending for 2025. We're just going to kind of hit them, man. We got a good 20 minutes here, so let's dive right in. And we're going to do a little point counterpoint, Frank. We're going to talk a little bit about what we think on each of these topics. But one of the things they said about 2025, trends in homes, they said people are embracing the reality and the beauty of imperfection. What do you think about that? When we're talking about home designs, you go into a home, there's a certain kind of a thing where sometimes we overdo trying to make things look perfect. Picture perfect wood planks on a floor, and then you get that more rustic look, maybe like this kind of a look back here.
Well, one of the things I hear a lot in people moving into this area from somewhere else is, I don't want a cookie cutter builder home. Every day, all day long, I hear that. So we start off looking at older resales, which are budget friendly, and then they say the kitchen's too dark, the floor's too dark, the cabinets are too dark, and next thing you know, we end up lightening everything. Yeah. But I think that's how I see embrace the imperfections, because if you want the perfect house, it's going to cost you a perfect price.
Well, in fairness, though, I think some of it is that as we've had so many national builders come in, and look, nothing wrong with a national builder. Yeah, they build some of the most modern style homes, but I think now we've almost gone the other direction. We've gotten to a point where we said everything looks so cookie cutter, so exact. And now, how about my house where I've got a different style of everything, and maybe that little knot in the hardwood floor. It's not a perfection. In fact, it's an imperfection, but in some way, it's.
We go back to that word character that people use.
Character, yes.
My wife and I have a joke. She says character means creaky floors and cracked ceilings.
And cozy means tiny, and all the other things. We're going to get into the realtor tricks today, right? Yeah. Very cool stuff. Another thing, I thought this was kind of interesting. They said, looking to the past. So they're saying this is a trend for 2025 and probably, for the next however many years, doing historically based decorating with Gothic things and antiques. I thought this was kind of interesting. Or is this something you're into, Frank?
I'm not into it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
I showed a 2-year-old home the other day, very modern decor, very modern lines in the design, but they had several very strategically placed old pieces of furniture. It almost looked out of place if you didn't see from room to room. But it was like one piece per room tied it all together. Yeah.
Well, I think it's important. Look, the reason I wanted to do this show today, and we talked about it before, was that when you're building on the custom side of things, and of course, on the home building side at Carolina Bays, we have people come in, and you don't want to build a house that you're going to live in for, some people think the rest of their life, some people think at least for the next 10 years, and have something that's immediately dated. Yeah. You want to have something that's ahead of the game. So I think it's interesting when you talk about things like an antique feel. Picture the fireplace mantles. If you went back to around 2010, you'd see the cookie cutter mantle with one of the granite surrounds on it, and they all look very similar.
Then a couple of slabs, a piece of tile on the floor.
A couple of slabs on the floor, and
they're now usually very dark.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing, and it became so monolithic. You walk in every house and you say, oh, there's that fireplace, and they pick that mantle. So now you're looking at the rustic piece of wood on the wall that might be a little misshapen, got a little bit of an antique feel. I think this is something you got to look at if you're thinking about building a custom home. Anyway,
for sure.
All right, so here was one, brightening the horizon. They said, this is a little bit about what's happening in 2025, and I saw this note. Now, this is from some leaders that are of industry. This is coming up a number of times. They said there's a little bit of a pent-up demand for homes because so many people have been waiting on the fences. They've been waiting on the sidelines.
They're waiting for the interest rates.
Waiting for the interest rates to go down, and they said there's a little bit of fatigue with that. People have been holding on for a long time, and now they're saying, you know what, look, 5.5 may be the new 3.75.
We've had this conversation in a previous podcast. Historically, anything under 8 is a great mortgage rate.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hate to say it.
Well, yeah,
it's not great compared to the 2.7 that you got a few years back.
Man, 2.7, I know, right? Tough to be, but look.
Did you ever think it would be 2.7? I didn't.
No, I didn't think it would ever be 4. I mean, when I
saw 4, I was like, oh my gosh.
Jump on it now. And the thing is people got numb to that.
Sure.
They got numb to it. You know, you're seeing these interest rates and going, who cares? And then they went up, and all of a sudden that looked really good. But I think that's what a lot of these things are pointing to, an uptick in the market just by simple attrition. People are going to look at it and say, look, it's time to get back on.
Fatigue is the right word to use. That's the right word.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, you get to a point where you're like, I can't hold on anymore.
Everybody I've spoken to, mortgage professional, real estate professional, it says we're in a lull right now.
A lull. Okay.
They said it's just a little bit of a slow period right now. Usually this time of the year is really picking up. You see, I mean, I just showed a few houses today. The average time on market was either 2 or 3 days or 90.
Really?
There was none of those 1-monthers, 2-monthers. And we had this conversation before. If you put your house on the market at the right price and do the right freshen up and the right staging, it will not go stale.
Yeah, well,
but once you stale it a little bit, it gets a little stale. You bring your price down, it falls off that hot list.
You know, I'm going to speak to the buyers out there, but I'm also speaking to the realtors. I'm speaking to you and anybody at Carolina Bays Real Estate, anybody that's listening. There is an art form to setting a price.
There absolutely is.
The art form is when I hear people saying every one of my listings sells within a day or two, I'm like, I don't know that you're pricing your home right.
Yeah.
You know, you may be leaving, as they say, leaving something on the table there because you're setting them so low that you're below the market and you're selling by virtue of that. Then again, to your point, if you set that price way too high, a lot of people are like, I'm going to swing for the fences. Well, now you've gotten stale over the next. We all know the best time is right immediately.
And then exactly. The best offer you get is usually your first one.
Yeah, exactly. So you wait on, I'm going to wait and see what else comes out. And then, a month from now, you're like.
And you go back to that original lead, they bought.
Yeah, they already bought. They're out of there, man. So.
I think my rule of thumb is to find out, do a very detailed, accurate CMA in multiple different ways, to get multiple average prices, and I put, depending on the urgency of the sale, sometimes I'll put a little on it to negotiate down. Because we've already discussed, we're about 3% off the list price on average.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the averages are saying right now. You know, it's funny, we go back during the middle of the COVID period when everybody is buy. You know, everybody's coming down.
Overbid.
And that stat at one point
they're like, I'll take this one. That's gone.
Listing price and the sell price was like 1% higher than the listing price. This is when people were overbidding.
When I wasn't here, but what was it? Do you remember what it was? What the sale price was over the list?
Oh, it was 1% over. 1%. Like so what I'm saying is let's say that I list a home for $300,000, I sell it for $300,000. That's 100%. We sold it for exactly. They were coming at like 101%, 102%, because people are coming in and they're like, your home's 300. I'll bid 310, and these things were happening. And I've been in the industry since almost after I graduated college. I've never seen anything like it. And we were here during the building boom in 2008.
So two you never saw before that, and you never saw 3% mortgages before.
Boy, man, not me. And I've heard stories of 18% interest rates.
I knew somebody that had a 14% mortgage rate.
Boy, that's 14. Pretty rough. Now, all right, so let's hit a couple other things. Now, here's another one, and I'm just going to rifle through some of these. Another one where, now these are industry analysts. You're looking to get a jump start on what you should be doing when you're decorating. Yet another person said, timeless pieces over trendy ones. And they're talking about the way you're decorating your house, timeless pieces. What I'm thinking of is, I'm going to say something silly here, but like the grandfather clock. I'm talking about the things that are not necessarily the modern thing that you're thinking of. We're almost going the opposite direction right now because this is how, trends tend to work. So thought that was kind of interesting.
Real life equivalency, looked at a house Tuesday night with a client, and everything was there. I loved the house for this person. They saw it as dated.
Dated.
By the light fixtures, light switch covers, just little things like they were all cosmetic, paint colors. But my point is, today, that same client was like, I think I might want to put an offer in. I go, it's funny you say that because I just got notification it's under contract.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of, it's even more dated today than it was yesterday. It's dated one day forward.
So, so to me, you have to look, I look at the bones of a home.
Correct.
How old's the roof?
Yep.
This was a house that was 15 years old, had an original poured driveway, not one crack in it.
Yeah, well, that's pretty solid.
I didn't see any settlement anywhere.
And by the way, that's very rare.
Very rare.
You listen at home.
And it was all brick, and I'm like, this is the house.
I get a lot of home warranty questions about cracks, but yes, no, that's a great. My point being, it's interesting when we keep talking about antiques, we're talking about timeless pieces, we're talking, the funny thing is when you say dated, a home can be dated from 10 years ago style.
For sure.
That's kind of the point we're making.
The archways you see in houses now, every room has an arch. You see that a lot in the Conway. Dated.
Yeah, dated.
But when you say being a little bit timeless, not only are you not going to look as dated, you look like a classic look, but you also appeal to a wider swipe of buyers.
Well, correct.
You have your retirees, you have your young families. If it's a tasteful, timeless piece, they can see themselves having
Absolutely.
Like
I think there's something to be said, too. I mean, to put a little meat behind this, the barn doors have become such a part of the modernness of it.
Huge.
But that's really kind of maybe a somewhat timeless element.
Throwback.
It's not meant to look like, oh, man, what a modern, trendy door. It's meant to look a little bit rustic.
You're not seeing horses behind it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Couldn't you imagine if you did? Hey, are there horses in your bedroom?
Interesting.
Great stuff. Some stuff that surprised me. A little bit of a shift back to nickel. Apparently, we made a shift to brass over the recent years.
Really?
Now we're shifting back to nickel a little bit. That's according to one of these.
I'm a nickel guy.
You're a nickel. I'm a nickel guy. So
I'm not a brass guy.
Yeah, the brass is it was polished brass back in the early 2000s, the really shiny stuff, and then it went to more of a dull brass.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right, so a couple other things. Bold window treatments. You get into the really strong colors, strong vibes. I'm not much of a
As long as we discuss with the purple, your walls aren't strong.
Yeah, right. Well, look, there's something to be said, though. Look, I'm no interior designer, but when an interior designer gets it right and they go with that bold thing.
Oh, please. An accent wall, I've seen it. It's nice.
Man, I've looked at things before, and this is my tip to home buyers. You're looking at your decorator, and once in a while, you start seeing what they're laying out, a wall color. Yeah. And I've walked into houses an interior designer was doing. This is true, back in one of our model homes. And I walked into the model home, and I was just looking at the colors with no furnishing. And I thought, this is going to be a disaster.
Like,
this is a disaster house.
This is garbage.
This is garbage, man. Dark burgundies and weird orangish hues. And when she put the furnishings together and the pictures on the wall,
Bam.
Dude, it was a Southern living home at that point, man. So good stuff. Material Revolution. Oh, I love this one, Material Revolution. Here's what it says. I'm going to read this whole clause because I think you need to listen to it at home. Design choices to foster our physical and neurological health as well as ecological health. 2025 brings remarkable revelations to the industry, and we're talking about things to help with better built products, less harmful chemicals in your construction products, which result in hopefully a decline in asthma, diabetes, obesity, and reproductive disorders. Now, before you laugh this off as new age ha stuff, I think of stuff like, you remember the Love Canal disaster back at around the Niagara Falls, Lower River.
The name rings a bell. Yeah. I don't remember what it was exactly.
Well, they talked about, it was probably one of the bigger EPA disasters in the history of this country. Think about Chernobyl to go really dark.
I live not far from 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, well, there you go. And the point being, like, these are mini versions of that. What if I said to you, inside your house, some of those chemicals, talk about VOCs and paints and things, what if some of those things were leading to anxieties? Maybe you got kids and it's leading to asthma problems. We're actually starting to sniff that out in the industry. So
nice pun there.
Yeah, sniff it out. how's that smell? But what my point is if you're going to build a home, you want to get ahead of it. Maybe we start marketing towards that. You're a builder out there. You're trying to get the edge on the competition. Look, we built a house. We've used all products that have reduced harmful chemicals, going to make your living environment safer. I think that's kind of a cool
Forward thinking.
Great message for it. Okay, I got a few more here, and we got a little bit of time left. We got about 5 minutes, Frank, so let's do this. Invest in what matters most. Now, this is more of a tip for people, but I think that this is going to speak very well to you and I as business owners. So it talked about the fact that we're getting away from just having a great product anymore. And I think about the national builders and the beautiful products they had. They said we're trying to shift to better service mechanisms. How can I improve the service? And in 2025, I think it's funny they use this as a trend, because I feel like the trend has been the opposite of that recent years. But they're saying now we're looking at better delivery mechanisms. Let me give you a real world one. No, we're talking about homes right now, but let me get into a real world one. I love what Chick-fil-A has done in recent years. Chick-fil-A, at one point, and everywhere you are in this country, you go to a Chick-fil-A and people are lined up out the door. Go to a Chick-fil-A at lunchtime, they're wrapped around the parking lot. But you know what Chick-fil-A did? They said, we need a better delivery mechanism. We got a great chicken sandwich, and we even got great people. But it's kind of annoying to wait in a line for 20 minutes. People won't do that. So they said, let's bring the people to the cars. Let's not wait for them to get there. Let's bring them to it. And they sped up the process. Great service is a leader in making a better product.
And that line, as long as it ever looks, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, man. You get in it and you're thinking, boy, I'll be here for 20 minutes. And you would be in a lot of places.
It's 5-10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. And you're out. And they're so nice to you out there. Makes you feel good, right? So better service, a trend for 2025, I hope anyway. It says here, okay, now this is a little bit of a scary one. How are tariffs going to affect the market?
Right now, it's unknown.
It's unknown. So this is something for 2025. We're trying to look at how are tariffs going to do. Obviously,
building in it's going to have a greater effect than real estate.
It could,
but it all snowballs down.
Well, we talked about years ago, and this is before we started this show. They used to have the Canadian tariffs. This was a big thing about the wood, and there was a fear that what happens to the pricing when we get down to those tariffs. And you find a way to adapt. We got to keep America running strong here, but that is something we're kind of monitoring. Now, here was one more about, and I'm just running through these trends, about people being ready to buy again. And then here was one, maybe we'll end on a high point, Frank. They're saying that over this next year, the trend and the expectation is that the Feds are going to continue to lower rates to a reasonable level. That's to the
But we all know that's not going to be overnight.
And it's not going to be 3% anymore.
No.
Wipe that out of your memories, people.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank, did I miss anything? I mean, there was more here. If you get a chance, go on to this article that we read it from, what will happen in 2025.
Well, going back to, I wanted to touch on one thing
that go for
you had hit.
I'm going to have a poppy while you're looking through the thing there. Delicious.
I can't remember what detail it was, but it had something to do with, how service is affecting.
Yep.
One of the things I've noticed separates me from other realtors, not that all realtors don't do some version of this,
is that
the service does not stop with the sale with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big networker.
Okay.
So, and you're the same. We have painters we know. We have different fields that are ancillary to us. Yesterday I stopped by one of my clients, the Clarks, very nice couple, moved out from California. I stopped by to see how the painter was doing on their house, because that's the painter I would use. I use them, so I referred. The guy I used for pressure washing is going to pressure wash their house. And these people were vetted by me. They're vetted by us, use a lot of the same guys. We know what kind of product and what kind of service they're going to provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's up to that service provider to make the connection with our person, because we're giving a warm, sometimes hot, steamy lead.
Well, to say it, and I agree completely with everything you said, I appreciate the connection there. The truth is that in great service, it doesn't end with selling. It doesn't end with the person signing the contract. It starts when the person signs the contract. And so I do believe the referrals. And Frank, one thing that you are great at, and I love this, is that when you've sold a job and you're truly done through the whole sales process, you stay up with these people.
Yes.
You're still there for them if they need something, and people appreciate that. I think if that's the trend for 2025, then that is the best trend we have going. And I dare people to try it more.
I've seen a lot of listing, and I've shown a lot of homes where I've reached out to the selling agent or listing agent, and I'm not getting any feedback from them.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that was my listing, and I can't get back to the person that's bringing a deal to the table.
I always tell people, I'm like, why should you list a property with us? Well, I say you should list it because we're going to put you everywhere. We're going to be responsive. Somebody shows me some interest, I'm going to get back with them. And you know what? We're finding less and less people doing that in the industry. So,
I mean, an example, I landed, as you know, last Tuesday. I was showing homes Wednesday.
Yep.
I drove out of town again for an unfortunate event. I came back Monday, and I was showing homes Monday night.
He was showing homes on Monday night, and he was signing the contracts on Tuesday morning.
I'm hoping to sign one. But I was showing homes within hours after I drove 9 hours back from the north.
Well, look, man, I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's my job.
Strike while the iron's hot.
That's my job.
But there's a bigger part of that, which is making the customer feel good. Yeah. Hey, by the way, we got 1 minute left. Let's plug the home show. Come 100%. See us. You'll see Robin and Frank over at the Carolina Bays booth with the Modern Homes Podcast. We might even record a show or two from the show. But come down to the Myrtle Beach Convention Center, February 21st, 22nd, 23rd. We have 2 booths there.
I was going to say we have a double-sized booth this year.
Great giveaways, Frank. We have 2 people signing autographs at the place.
They'll be revealed when?
I'm going to give the spoiler alert now. We have 2 great signers. Mason Zeglen from Celebrity. Well, I always say Celebrity, but it's Chef Swap at the beach. He's going to be there signing autographs on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have a Miss South Carolina pageant contestant. Her name is Teagan Brown. Teagan, if you're here locally,
that name sounds familiar.
She's the director of WMBF Sports.
Yes.
But she went viral. I'm excited to have Teagan at our booth. She went viral within the last year. And I mean viral. Like go on Good Morning America kind of viral with a mic flip she did. It was kind of an off-the-screen thing. Oh, yeah. And that hit so big, and people just loved how it was so smooth and funny. So Teagan's going to be signing autographs at our booth on Sunday.
Nice.
So come to the home show. Come see us. Come get some good advice. And it's not just us. There's 300 exhibits there. Cute puppies to adopt.
A lot of the partners we talked about will be there too.
Yeah, a lot of partners. And look, my favorite part, and I've adopted a dog there. Come see the pet adoption for the Grand Strand Humane Society, silent auctions, a lot of great things at the home show. So we'll see you there, right?
See you there.
All right. And thank you guys all for listening to the Modern Homes Podcast with Rob and Frank. We'll be back with another show next week. And in the meantime, we hope to see you at the home show.
Come to the home show.
Take care. See you next time.